Hello, everybody, and welcome to the True Love Talk channel. Here we want to learn about human sexuality and love based on the teachings that Pope John Paul II left in the Theology of the Body. I am Elisa, and today's topic is what does chastity in parenthood entails? So let's begin. Okay, when it comes to chastity in parenthood, it has two basic elements. First of all, is what in psychology we call attunement to the child's needs. Just like in last video, I told you that the less we knew about sex, the better we would have sex with our spouse, because we would wait for our spouse to tell us what they want, right? And it would be our spouse themselves who would teach us what we needed to know about sex. The exact same thing happens when it comes to children. Basically, we need to not know how to be parents or not to have parenting classes, because we need to learn from our child. Our child is the one who's going to teach us what they need, right? And how they need it. And because the idea is not just uh, to to fulfill a need from the child, is also to fulfill the need that the child needs fulfilling at that particular moment, right? It's not just giving everything, is giving the anything or everything at its moment. And for that, we need to pay attention to the child. And that also means that each child is going to be different because they each have their own personality. So basically, we have to learn to be parents with each one of our children, right? And also that means, of course, being there, being present, and helping them regulate their emotions and control them, helping them, comforting them, and developing their humanity as much as possible, right? Then it comes the second element of the chastity in parenthood is about the dignity in the conception, because we need to protect our child's dignity. The child needs to be conceived inside the marriage. If not, I agree that there is no difference between a child who was born inside a marriage or not. But for the child, it is a different. It's not that it's not that they're lesser people or they have less dignity. It is not like that. But that's what the child feels. Actually, I have a friend who was conceived outside marriage, right? Their parents got pregnant with her. They got married, and then I don't know, because it happens, they got divorced. And that led her to believe that she had ruined her parents' life. And that led her to actually think that maybe abortion could be an option in certain cases. So, yes, of course, abortion is denying a child's right to live, right? But when it's somebody that so despicable as herself that is going to ruin his or her parents' life as she had done, why couldn't people just abort the baby, right? Here's the problem. Because of how she was conceived and no other reason, as far as I can tell, her parents loved her and told her that she was a blessing to them. I mean, they weren't bad parents or anything. But because of how they had conceived her, she always thought that she had ruined her parents' life and she was unlovable. And because we need to develop our children's humanity, the child is not going to be able to love if they don't think that they deserve that love, if they don't feel that they have the dignity that everybody else has. So, chastity in marriage and the chastity with parenthood go hand in hand. It's very important to conceive inside the marriage. And this is something that this is tied to a very weird idea that we have nowadays about parenthood, and it is that parenthood can be chosen and that it is reversible, right? So, if I don't want to have the child, I just reverse the decision, right, with abortion, and it's like it didn't happen. So, if I want to be a parent again, I just get pregnant again, and it's like if it never happened. Actually, this is not true. We can choose if to become parents or not, but what we can choose about that is to put ourselves in a position that we can become parents. Namely, that to have sex, when we have sex, we open ourselves to getting pregnant, or by filling up the adoption papers, we open ourselves to getting our child. Right? This is what we can decide. But as soon as the child appears, and that means as soon as the pregnancy test turns positive, we become parents, and there is no coming back from that. Regardless of what's going on, regardless of the age, this will never change. We can choose to be parents of a child that is well cared for, that we have a bond with, that we know them and they know us, and that we know how they're doing. We can choose to be parents of an abandoned child that we don't know how if they survived or not. We can choose to be parents of a dead child, but we cannot choose to stop being parents. We will never stop being parents, regardless of the age. And I'll tell you this because one of my uncles got cancer when he was like 60, almost 70, right? So his mother was 90 something, and he almost died. And my aunt was basically crying her eyes out. This 90-year-old woman crying like any other mother of a child who had cancer, any 6-year-old who had cancer, same kind of tears. And why? People ask, like, his her son had already lived a full life. He was old. He had everything he needed. So it's not as sad as the death of a child. And maybe to the rest of us, it is not as sad. But to a mother, losing a child is losing a child regardless if the son has lived a full life or they're just starting it, if the child depends on you or you depend on the child. No matter what, we never stop being parents. This is not something that can be taken back. And also, that is why we have to understand that there are two aspects to having sex, right? Sexual relationships, coitus basically, has two aspects. First, the unitive aspect, which is sex brings two people together and make them do one flesh, to make them create one flesh, right? As this is the communion of people I was talking about in the video about conjugal chastity, right? That communion of people, that is the unitive part of sex. The other aspect is the procreative aspect, namely getting pregnant, right? The thing is, these two aspects cannot be divided without losing both, right? What is going to guarantee that the child's dignity is protected is that the spouses or that the parents were trying to create a communion of people when they conceived them. What is going to protect that community of people that the parents were trying to produce? Yes, we're trying to produce with that sex, is them being open to life, them being open to being pregnant, right? One cannot happen without the other. If one disappears, both of them disappears. So why is that so is something that we're going to see in the next video, basically, that we're going to analyze why does the church not say yes to contraception. I don't know how to say it. Why doesn't the church accept contraception? That's basically the topic of the next video. Well, I'm very glad to see that you stayed until the end of the video. If you have any questions or any comments, please write it in the comment section below and I will try to answer it as soon as possible. So see you in the next video. Lots of blessings for everybody. Bye.